Empire City Transmission.
Welcome back, everybody, to Empire City Garrison's Empire City Transmissions, where we're talking all things Star Wars. And today we're talking costuming. And we posted some questions on our social media platforms. So thank you to everybody who responded and submitted a question. And also thank you for your patience as we are taking our time to answer them. But let's just dive right in because we had some pretty good ones. So let's start with an easy one, which this came from this came from Instagram, and this was, where can I get a white ISB twill tunic? Does De Niro Novo still make any of those?
They do. De Niro Novo, Wampa Wear, currently out of stock, expecting stock in the next couple of weeks. Or Maz Cave, over in Italy, I think. Those are your best. Magnolia Clothiers, maybe. Those are your choices. If you need any more information on any of those, you can message us. We'll get you everything you need.
Maybe, Matt, if you don't mind just sharing real quick before we even really get into this, how can people contact our GML team for more information on costumes?
Yeah, sure. Sure, that's a good one. I think, right, that's part of Kathy's question. I think I saw on the Facebook. So our email address is gml@501ecg.com. You can message us there. If we don't have the answer, I promise we'll get you in touch with somebody from the detachment or somebody who does have the answer. So I think that's the best form of contact. I also do monitor the Facebook messages. So if you want to message us on Facebook, either Andrew or I will respond and get you to the right people.
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram as well. You can message us through there.
A lot of times the detachments are really good for this. I think I mentioned it last episode also, but if the forums are too hard to get onto, if they have a Discord server, Sovereign Protectors has one, and then so does Flagship Eclipse. I'm sure other detachments do as well. Then you'll get a response really fast on there.
And I know on the a lot of the forums too, if you're looking for specific items, they will have like documents and stuff sort of listed out of where you can get each thing and reputable distributors and all of that. So you're not just scrolling through Google and hoping that you found something that's accurate. All right, well then to answer Kathy's other question, so this also came from Facebook. She said, she asked, when starting a costume, how do I decide and where do I go to find out what to do? So how do you decide? That's a great question.
I mean, we all, I'm sure, have answers to this because we were all there. With me, at least, I have a Darth Revan costume. That's what I wear usually. I went online. I was looking for I was just browsing one day on Instagram or something. I saw this Darth Revan costume. I thought that was really cool. And so I went and, I did some research, who sold the best one. And I ended up making it work. I managed to get it from a seller that sold the entire costume. Basically as one piece. You need to buy a few bits here and there, but that was pretty much it. A lot of people say just do who your favorite character is. And that's perfectly fine. If you're on a budget or you don't want a super difficult costume, a lot of people say an officer is the best. And I agree. Or Bridge Crew, Tight Reserve, something like that. And I think those are
as well.
Jawa. Yep. What other simple ones are there? Darth Vader, Wampa? No. A little bit difficult. But I mean, I'm sure you guys have answers to this one too.
Actually, this would be a good moment to introduce our fourth member here because I totally skipped over that before. But Danny, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us how you ended up picking your costume?
Yes, I'm Danny Kelly, SL88226. My costume is Return of the Jedi Darth Vader. Believe it or not, each time you see Vader in a different movie, he actually looks different. So you need different parts, different vendors for, what version you choose. And how I picked Vader, I mean, who doesn't want to dress up like Vader? But no, I remember Return of the Jedi stuck out to me a lot when I was a kid. The very, very ending, when Luke and his father are, duking it out, and they, Vader sacrifices himself to save his son. And, as a kid, that stuck out to me. I mean, I wore that VHS tape out. I mean, just rewind, play. So that's always kind of been in the back of my mind. And then when I actually had my son, and the very first movie we showed him was A New Hope. But then when we got to Return of the Jedi, and I had some extra money, I was like, okay, maybe now's the time that I pull the trigger on this. I cobbled together a pretty bad looking Darth Vader. It was fine for Halloween and horseplay, but then I just stumbled upon the Sith Lord detachment, which, for those of you guys who don't know, each costume kind of has their own group. These groups really help guide you through the process, because you can buy parts and just blow thousands of dollars, and then you submit to our friend Matt here, and he says, "You look great. I hope you enjoy it, but it just doesn't, work." So I joined detachments really help. And then found the ECG and fell in love with all you nerds.
So Matt,
What do you mean, nerds?
Yeah, who are you calling nerd? Speak for yourself. I'm just sitting here with cat ear gamer headphones. Matt, what was your first costume? I think you mentioned it in the last podcast.
Yeah, well, it was in A New Hope staff officer, which would not be approved as a New Hope staff officer today. They have changed the costuming standards as the 4K editions of the movies have come out, and they can see more details on the costume. So I'm grandfathered, but technically do not have a movie accurate New Hope staff officer anymore.
What would yours qualify as now then?
It's the same as yours, the
non-saga
security officer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what's different about it that would make it unapprovable today?
The princess themes.
The princess themes for one. On the back, there are on the original costume. There's 2 vertical seams up the back, but on Andrea's and I's, it curves out towards the arms on either side. So the princess seams, and actually the closure on the neck is on the right side of the costume, as opposed to our closure is here.
Gotcha. I love those details.
Do you?
I do.
Did you love those details when you were trying to get
I
your
think
Darth
you need to be a
Vader
channel
approved?
next year if you like.
No, it almost turns into like a competition almost, like who knows the most about like these costumes and these details and where they come from, who made it, why they made it,
I love this part of Vader or Boba Fett is made from like a record player,
Yeah.
a record player or something ridiculous. Yeah, that is cool. I agree. Yeah.
Well, finding out where it came from is definitely cool, but the excruciating detail while trying to go through the approval process is not exactly cool. I personally was really frustrated with it.
The GML team makes it really easy, and it does not cost thousands of dollars. We're trying to get people to join. You guys are really selling it.
Well, it's totally worth it. As much as, I sit here and complain about, again, this princess themes, because that's what got me the first time, what I applied for, and then got denied and then had to change everything, was actually right around that time where they updated what was required for the officer. So again, frustrating as it was, I was so happy when I did get approved and could start parading around in my officer uniform and bossing people around. It was totally worth it. So we have one more question, which was a really good one. So this also came through our Instagram. And, oh no, I apologize. This came through Facebook. So it says, this is from Gary. He said, I'm interested in being 501st ready for Celebration Los Angeles, but I'm not comfortable with the idea of full body armor. In Japan, I was suggested an officer uniform, but was wondering if there's other options or ones that people go for more rarely, but might be fun. So, again, talking
More
just
fun than an officer?
Well, I guess, maybe something like a Jawa. I mentioned that before, but it's fun to just run around and absolutely wreak havoc. I almost
All right,
like,
I'm gonna be real. I hate trooping with Jawas.
what? Is it because I
Yeah.
photobomb you all the time? Are you
That
just
that is
mad that
actually
you're not in the picture?
hilarious. That is one of the funnier things that a Jawa has done to me. So for the people listening and Danny and Liam, if you've never seen it, Andrea will just position herself right in front of me. Like
For every photo.
like this, so like without seeing me in the photo. She does it every time. That is funny. No, I mean, no offense to Jawas. I don't want to seem racist against fake people, but I don't know, just kind of kills the vibe of us standing around looking, kind of like tough guys, and you're just being a goofball on a brown hood.
Yeah, in that respect, it totally does.
And you do it great.
It's fun to be the goofball in the hood, but it totally does like ruin the vibe. Now that you mention it,
I think it was you. I'm not sure, but there was it was one parade that we were in. But it was Matt who was in his office, I think, and he had the flag, and then you were trailing behind him, and you had the flag, and you were just
that was me.
flapping the flag,
Also,
and Matt's just trying to keep it together, like it's all fine.
I also ruined that same parade. I think Liam, your mom was taking a bunch of photos, and I ruined probably most of them because I kept like jumping in front of her camera and like.
Yeah, that probably sounds about right. She
Yeah.
does take a lot of photos of troops. She helps handle, and that was St. Patrick's Day when you were saying?
No, Elmont, I think.
I think it was Elmont, yeah.
Yeah.
Where we
I've been
waved-
shown
where we
several
waved-
photos from parades
Parade
where
that
there's a
I thought-
Jawa standing in front of the camera, so
That's why
they blur together.
You need a stormtrooper or something when there's a Jawa, because a stormtrooper can just go up and then grab the Jawa.
Jawa patrol.
Justin does
Justin
that a
is
lot.
very good.
Because we
Yeah.
can see and move. Yeah.
Yeah, Justin pulls me out of that nonsense quite a bit.
I mean, as far as just to bring it back to the question for costumes that aren't necessarily full body armor, but that have some armor, as I'm understanding it.
Yeah, I guess like, is there anything that's like part armor?
Yeah.
I mean, the TIE fighters
Well-
come into.
There's at least one.
Oh
You
yeah,
can
and
pop
the
off
TIE
your helmet pretty
pilots.
easily.
Yeah.
There's a TIE pilot. I mean, I'm sure someone's working on it, but I think they're called ISB Tactical Agents from Andor, are like half body armor. They look sick. It's not a CRL just yet, but I mean, give it a few months, right?
Maybe like
I can put a
amazing.
picture up on the screen.
So pristine.
Yeah, so there's like definitely costumes like those. If you don't want to do all soft goods, you want to do a mix.
A gunner, right? You can do hard chest and back and a helmet if you wanted.
A naval officer then that has like the big.
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Most of the officer costumes, the IOC. So
Yeah, so if you were to go on the IOC's forum, or even if you the 501st their like main page as well, will just have like a list of all the different officers that you could go for, and then they have pictures of each one, so you can sort of see what you're working with there, what's more soft, and if you have the ability to add some hard armor, if that's what you're looking for. But if
Yeah,
you
you got
want
Tuskens,
all soft
right?
parts, yeah, you can also do Tusken. Those are fun ones too.
Those are fun.
No, you
Yeah.
don't like those either?
No.
yeah, even
The
like
Boba Fett
shore
costumes are
troopers,
pretty badass looking.
The shore trooper. Now we're talking. Yeah.
snow troopers. Like there's plenty.
Yeah, there are. There's. I mean, I would say most costumes, other than your base stormtrooper, death trooper, shadow trooper, whatever, are
Clone trooper.
only partially.
Scout, yeah.
Yeah, clone trooper. Mostly, or partially or less armored. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, so those are the questions that we got from our social media. So I thought let's maybe talk about like I don't know if there's any sort of like frequently asked questions that you get a lot of, Matt. Like just like people messaging. Yeah, like people just messaging the GML team if there's
GML.
anything that you hear quite frequently.
Yeah, probably. Right. I mean, I think the thing that we hear the most is like where to get the parts, right? And I think it's where do I find this information?
Mhm.
And I think the answer we've covered it today and last time as well. The detachments. Figure out what family of costumes even, you're into, and figure out what attachment they belong to, join the forums. And obviously we're all here to help. If anybody here needs that information, you can message any of us, or like I said, the GML team earlier, gml at 501ecg.com. But I think I don't know, I think we said this last time too, but I think it could be intimidating. The forums aren't easy to navigate. There could be some red tape into getting into them. Unfortunately, we're all volunteers, so nobody's sitting there looking to approve your access right the second you register for the forum. So I think there's a good chunk of people who are just afraid to buy the wrong thing and waste money and not be able to troop in it.
I would think that the most common question you would get is, why haven't you approved me yet?
Oh, if we're talking about
It's taking so long.
Yeah.
I know.
Hello.
We get a fair share of that. Yeah. No, people are usually pretty patient, but we've had a couple that are definitely antsy, and they're excited. They spend a lot of time or a lot of money to do something that they're passionate about, and they're excited to get out there, and I get it. But again, as we said, we're also volunteers,
Gearing everything more towards just like costuming in general,
Mhm.
like
Okay.
just to keep
Okay.
the theme.
How do you see in that? How do you move in that? Is it hot? Like Justin and I did a street fair last weekend, just the two of us, and we were both stormtroopers, and it was a warm day. I would say at least the mid 80s, and covered head to toe in Tupperware, right? Essentially at the end of the day, and it's hot, and I personally don't have any fans. So those are questions. Or where's Darth Vader? Danny,
Are you Darth Vader?
you went this time by there. Everyone's
Every
like, "Where's
single
Darth
pilot."
Vader? Where's Darth Vader?" And I'm like, I don't know, we're busy.
My Imperial shuttle got delayed. Sorry.
Got the-
The question I get the most is, are you Kylo Ren? And my answer used to be no, but now it's just yes, because I don't feel like explaining who Darth Revan is.
That was gonna be my question, was how often do you just say yes?
Depends on how enthusiastic they are. If they're like, oh my gosh, it's Kylo Ren, I love you. I'm like, yeah, that's me. If they're like, hey, are you Kylo Ren? Usually I'll correct them.
Yeah. You don't want to burst their bubble. Like, whatever. You
Exactly.
want to be Kylo? I'll be your Kylo.
Yes.
Last weekend I bursted a kid's bubble. Liam, remember we were doing that sunrise walks, and those two kids kept coming up to us like, "You're from Fortnite. You're from." I'm like, "No, I guarantee you're not in Fortnite."
And then they showed you your skin in Fortnite, but it was a clone trooper.
Right.
No, a stormtrooper.
Oh, kids these days.
I hand out those trading cards like we all do to kids, and I'll hand them to adults too, because you just never know who's going to have an event to share. But anyways, one of them emailed me a screenshot of their Fortnite Vader, and like, this is my skin. This is you. And I was like, yeah, that's me. Thank you for sharing.
Just accept my fate.
That's like a big fan mail.
That is actually. That's kind of cool. So, well, on the topic of, yes, it does get really hot in there. Matt, you mentioned fans. So, like, what are some of the other things that I don't wear armor like that. You guys are really brave to do that. But what are some of the other things that you will use to kind of help keep airflow going through there? I know Justin complains a lot about the eyepiece like fogging up on him all of the time.
Oh,
so yeah.
That's what the fans are really for. Like I have three. I have two above my eyes and one in my mouth vent. And it's not to make me feel nice. It's to keep the eyes from fogging up.
Mm-hmm.
Once in a while, I can feel like a little breeze on my temple, and it's lovely. But that's not their purpose. And you also don't want fans that are so loud in your helmet, because then you're not going to be able to hear anything. So you already can't see in these costumes. So if you can't see and you can't hear, you're going to have a rough time answering people and just enjoying yourself. So
yeah. The fans for sure. You can use anti-fog, right? So something like that on the lenses, sometimes that can help. But Danny's exactly right. The fans are loud. I don't have them. Mm-hmm. I have a big head, so also trying to fit fans in my helmet doesn't sound good to me. I know. Obviously, you have to operate within the confines of what the costume will allow you to do, right? I know, like our Chrysanthemum Andy will use like ice vests, basically, to keep cool, and he's covered head to toe in fur, right?
Yeah.
I
Looks so cool.
I butchered an ice vest from Amazon where it had like, I think it was like 2 here, 2 in the belly, and then 2 in the kidneys. And because all of our costumes are like where all the parts have to line up are so, I don't know, they just can't move at all. I had to wear that ice vest. I had to rejigger my entire setup. So I chopped off all the front ice packs and just have 2 on my kidneys if I'm doing like a troop on a very, 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 very hot day. Other than that, I just suffer.
I was just gonna ask, like,
We're
how long
opposite.
do the ice packs even help? Especially
Well,
under, like, because you have the cape and everything too. That's got to be.
Yeah. It did help. Like it felt nice. Just having that cold, back there. But I don't know, like my neck and head just get so hot in that helmet. It just it helps. Maybe I would say 15%.
Better than 0, I guess.
Yeah. If it keeps me out there for another 30 minutes, then I guess it's worth it.
I heard that the Vader costume they used in Kenobi had like liquid cooling inside of it.
You
And-
plug them in to cool them off.
That's sick.
Insane.
We need like a gonk droid that has liquid cooling in it. We could just plug ourselves into it. There we go. Guess a prop idea.
Yeah, go ahead.
To tell Joe.
Get making.
I'm not smart enough for that, but I don't know. It would be lovely.
Well, how do you guys maintain your gear after a hot day trooping? Like, how do you deal with your costume? Because it's not cheap, and you don't want it to fall apart. Do you clean it? Do you just throw it in the wash?
Depends
Clean
on
it.
depends on the
Take my
piece.
undersuit and throw it in the husky and hope it doesn't smell like mildew the next year.
Yeah, I'll lay my stuff out. Sometimes I'll give it a wipe a few times with some whatever Kleenex wipes, and then throw whatever soft goods I was wearing underneath in the wash usually. And that's about it for me. I'm in sort of a different scenario from any other costume, I think, where I'm wearing a mask. I'm not wearing a full-on helmet. So yes, my lenses or I guess unilens gets fogged up. I can't really do much about it other than hope that it goes away. So that's a difference with mine, for sure. But as far as cleaning, yeah, I think it's the same for most costumes.
Another thing you could do, dryer sheets are cool. Like I have a backpack that I wear sometimes, and it has your typical nylon webbing for straps. And obviously, you can't always hose it down and whatever, but if you take some dryer sheets on those straps, it helps keep it from getting funky.
I always bring with me, I have a little travel size of, it's not Febreze, but it's like the Downy, like fabric refresher. I always keep that with me.
So we're just a bunch of stinky troopers hoping that the Febreze covers up our funk.
But we look cool in photos, all right?
But we
can
look
see us in
cool, that's all
photos.
that
Yeah, that's what counts.
Again, we're supposed to be encouraging people to join. How stinky we are might not be the way to go.
You get nose blind to it.
Is that why I stopped noticing it?
Yeah, it must be.
I've definitely brought my parts of my costume to my wife and like, can you just smell that? Is it just a smell or like is it bad? I can't figure it out. She's like, no, it's a smell. I don't know if it's good or
a
bad.
smell.
What
It's
is the
not
smell?
offensive, right? It just has some
There we
distinct odor to it. Yeah.
Sith Lords aren't going to smell like lavender and tulips. Like, let's be real.
That's true.
It's all canon.
Yeah.
I've always been impressed with how many costumes you guys have. I mean, some ECG members have upwards of like 12 costumes.
Some of them have upwards of 30 costumes.
I mean, I don't know if there's anywhere to dig into that, but just the addictive nature of costuming.
We have one guy who chooses to kind of stay anonymous here, but he is, I'd say, pretty notorious. All he wants to do is he likes the thrill of making the costume and getting it approved, and he only wears one costume. But yeah, it's like almost 30 approved, I'm pretty sure. Like, I think they all just stay in bins and they never see the light of day after he gets them approved. But yeah.
Yeah, it all depends what costume you have and how big it is. Like a lot of stormtroopers will keep theirs in husky boxes. I can keep my Revan just in a regular carry-on suitcase. I keep my TIE Reserve in a duffel bag, and everything fits in there. It pretty much all depends on how many pieces you have, how big your costume is, how delicate it is, stuff like that. Yeah, that's how you store your costumes if you have more than one.
Yeah, my officer stays in pretty much a garment bag, but my Jawa just gets like shoved into like a duffel bag because the more like wrinkled and terrible that looks, the more accurate I think it is.
Your costume is fraying; it's falling apart.
It
No,
literally is.
it's just more accurate. It's supposed to be like that.
The first time I wore it, I had like threads like all like pulling off of it, and I was like, "This is great." This is just what we're looking for. How do you guys usually travel with your costume, especially you, Daniel, since yours has so many pieces and layers and stuff?
Yeah, I mean most Vaders will do the husky, the 50-gallon husky approach. I live in a small apartment in Queens, and I don't have the space, and I don't want to look at a big husky case every single day. So most of it fits into a 28-inch hard-sided suitcase. Helmet has its own drum case, and then the cape and robe go into a garment bag. So it's 3 separate cases. Yeah, I mean, and also like those husky cases, you're not gonna fit in your standard car's trunk. They're just too freaking big. Where a suitcase, fits in perfectly. And being in New York, there are troops I've gone to on the subway, which is pretty much a nightmare with all that stuff.